day at the GHO. This day had everything, and in the end, the winner was the class of the PGA for the second time in 3 years. Zinger, Paul Azinger, had fire in his sticks, and right at the very get-go today. Get-go, huh? What is that? There it is right here, an approach shot on the very first hole. Now, this is a par 4, and bingo. Watch the ball roll with the English on it. That would set up, of course, the crowds were well behind him. That would set up his first birdie of 6 on the front 9. Birdie's the first, beginning his scorching 30 that he had on the front 9. After he went to 13 under after 2 holes, he's on hole number 3, putting for eagle. On into not quite there. Nonetheless, it set up a very simple birdie putt for him, which he would promptly knock in the hole. He would get 3 more birdies on the front. Meanwhile, yesterday's leaders falling by the wayside. Kenny Knox, who played with Zinger in college, double bogeyed the first, then hit the pin and just missed the putt coming back on 3. He would end up with a 76 and finish it -7. And Azinger at the turn. This, let me see, this is not Azinger. No, let me see. This is, well, you know who this is? This is yesterday. Oh, jeez. Don't tell me. Mark Calcavecchia. Yeah, these are yesterday's highlights? Yeah, they are, unfortunately, I believe, or a different package from today, possibly. But anyway, what happened today was Levy was playing behind Azinger, and he was putting like a demon. He birdied 13 to go to 17 under, and then tied at -16. Levy had a chance to take the lead, and on 16, he missed the putt, and that set up another Azinger miracle on the 18th, which hopefully we'll get video of. There's the blimp. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, maybe we can get back to that in a little while. This is obviously not it. Let's take a look at the scoreboard and the leaders of the, rather the winner of the tournament today.
So
let's
good.
talk to Paul.
All I cared about was getting the ball where I wanted it to go, and on the back 9, it seemed like I was trying to avoid hitting it in spots that were going to cause me big problems.
But you maintained par all the way through except for 1 bogey.
I was very fortunate. I made a good putt on 13 for par and a good putt on 14 for par. And I don't know. I'm just so happy to have won. I mean, Wayne Levy just put the heat on, and he's a heck of a player, and he's as gutsy a player as I've ever, come across. And I mean that,
That was a pretty gutsy shot right here on 18.
It was just a miracle. It really was.
All right, there he is. There's your champion.
Well, at least we got to look at the miracle shot anyway. Sorry about the confusion on the tape, but we have about 9,000 GHO tapes here in the building. And the leaderboard, the winner board, actually, -17, a course record. Paul Azinger, 17 under and 30 on the front 9. Wayne Levy, a gutsy round at -16. Rummels came from out of nowhere to finish 3rd at -14. Jim Carter, who was in it all week, along with all-time favorite Lee Trevino at the GHO.
GHO Today is brought to you by your Connecticut Dodge dealers, by Burger King, by...
That was the chip of Paul Azinger as he won the 1989 Cannon Greater Hartford Open. Good evening, everybody. I'm Dave Smith. Joining me tonight is Phil Andrews. And Phil, it looked like he was going to be the easiest of winners today. Not so. He had a real dogfight, didn't he?
Well, right from the first tee, he took the lead. He birdied that first hole, and it looked like Azinger wasn't going to stop through 18. But Wayne Levy came on and said, hey, wait a second, this isn't just your tournament. He caught him and stayed with him through the last few holes, but things didn't work out that way.
The front 9, it was indeed all Paul Azinger. Here's how it went. Paul Azinger began his day at 11 under par, 1 stroke off the lead, and he came out smoking. The par 4 first, no problem at all. A birdie, he was tied for the lead at 12 under par when he rolled this beauty in. He birdied 2, he parred 3. We saw him at the 4th hole. What did he do there? At 13 under par, he went to 14 under par. This was for an eagle. You couldn't expect him to make it, and he didn't, but he left just a tap-in to go to 14 under par. And he had no trouble going to 14 under par with that little tap-in. Was anybody else doing anything? Not really. Kenny Knox had just an awful day. He shot a 76, and he was tied for the lead after 3 rounds. Nothing went for Kenny at all. He just, it was up there somewhere. Nothing. Mark Calcavecchia made a run. He birdied here on the 4th hole. He got to within 2 shots, had a chance to get to within 1 shot during the day, but he had to finish 4 strokes off of Paul Azinger. Meanwhile, Azinger birdied the 5th, he parred the 6th, and here we catch up with him again on the 7th hole. Another par 4, he is right on target, and from there, after he rolls it back, he just knocked it in calmly to go to 16 under par. He was opening up a huge gap. It looked like he'd have a walk in the park and just stroll to the title, but it wouldn't be that way, even though he birdied the 9th hole. He birdied 6 of the first 9 holes to go 17 under par. He had a 4-stroke lead. But I'll tell you, we had a dogfight as Wayne Levy would chase him down in the final 9 holes. But we really saw a guy take a golf course apart in the front 9.
I'd never played better in my life on the front 9. You were out there and you saw it, I know. And felt in complete control going to the back and thought I had a chance to just kind of run away and a walk in the park. And just something happened to me. My frame of mind changed, and it was just a constant struggle.
So the front 9 was all Paul Azinger. The back 9 was almost all Wayne Levy.
Yeah, they kind of switched there a bit, but, you know, Azinger did say when he finished up that we knew in the back of our minds that Levy was behind us and that we couldn't let up.
Yeah, I could see him, too, pressing. He really pressed, and it was exciting at the end. An ominous beginning for Paul Azinger on the back 9. On the 10th hole, that should have been a birdie, and he missed an easy one.
The 10th hole, I missed a short putt for birdie. And then the 11th hole, I hit a beautiful-looking 6-iron that hit the top of that bunker and rolled down in, which kind of surprised me, and I made a good par there. The next hole, I had a wedge to the green, and I've been struggling with my wedge all week and hit it terrible. And then I got on, my frame of mind changed, and I immediately got on defense. And when you get on defense, there's no longer any offense, and that's what happened to me today. And I began to see places where I would make bogey if I went that direction and tried to steer away from those positions, and you can't do that. You have to play as best you can to your intended line, your intended target. I mean, and on the front 9, my frame of mind was so good. All I cared about was getting the ball where I wanted it to go. And on the back 9, it seemed like I was trying to avoid hitting it in spots that were going to cause me big problems.
He did find a big problem. On 15, he took an unplayable lie, a stroke penalty, and a bogey when he couldn't chip in from off the green. How would you expect him to? Meanwhile, Wayne Levy became a story. Did he ever? Here he is on the 10th hole, the par 5 10th, right up close, and from there he banged it in, and he was at 14 under par, chasing Azinger, who was playing ahead of him. Here he is on the 12th hole. His shot to 12, over the water, onto the green, just superb. And from there, he would knock that in as well, and he was at 16 under par. He would climb to 17 under par and tie Azinger for a while when he birdied the 13th hole. But like Azinger, who found some trouble, so did he. He had to bogey on the 15th hole when he had some problems here. He did not come back for his par, and he was at 16 under par, but still tied with Paul Azinger. On the par 3 16th, Wayne Levy had a chance to take the lead, and who knows, maybe he would have won. He'll always think this putt was right in the middle.
It just didn't go in. It's one of the best putts I've hit. I just knew every second that I was going to make it. And when I was halfway there, I knew it was in. And it just got right to the hole and just hung there. Just stayed right on the edge and didn't go in.
No, it didn't go in. So the Mets race developed into this finale. You had Paul Azinger on 18 getting a big kick off a bad shot to the 18th green from the deep rough to the short rough. And from there, as thousands looked on, he chipped it in the hole. Yeah, he chipped it in the hole, as we showed you at the beginning of the program. That gave Azinger a 1-stroke lead. It wasn't over yet, because Wayne Levy would come to the 18th with a chance to tie and send this tournament to a playoff. But his putt never had a chance. He would finish a stroke behind, second-place money. Azinger was your winner.
I'm just so happy to have won. I mean, Wayne Levy just put the heat on, and he's a heck of a player, and as a gutsy a player as I've ever, come across, and I mean that,
That was a pretty gutsy shot right here on 18.
It was just a miracle. It really was.
So Paul Azinger is our winner. His bank account, some $180,000 wealthier. But he wasn't the only story out here. There were so many. There always are in a golf tournament. Your buddy, Tim Petrovic.
Well, of course, the nice thing about Azinger is that he is from the area. He talks about his folks being from Manchester. And one of the other stories this week was 22-year-old Tim Petrovic from Bloomfield. Of course, went to the University of Hartford. We'll tell you coming up how he did in the 1989 Greater Hartford Open.
One of the great stories out here every year, the great crowd. CBS was talking about it all day. This finishing hole here at 18 just had thousands of people. They said up to 60,000 people. I don't know. You make a guess, Phil.
Well, you know, it's interesting. If you sit here by 18 all day long and you watch the 18th hole just fill up, because what they do is they follow them from the first tee all the way through, Trevino's folks, Azinger's folks, and then the next thing you know, you've got 60,000 people here on the 18.
But there's room for everybody.
How does this year's compare with last year?
It's a lot more crowded.
Were you happy with the winner?
Absolutely. Sort of a local guy, very popular guy here, and a great golfer and a good person. Nice to see a guy like that win.
Working at the beer tent is the best.
What makes it fun?
Well, free beer and meeting a lot of different people.
It was just nice. Everyone had a really good time today.
Well, as we told you earlier, one of the great stories this week here out of the TPC was that of 22-year-old Tim Petrovic of Bloomfield, a young man that last year missed the cut. He was 11 strokes off of last year's cut. This year he got here via the sponsor's exemption. And I tell you what, just finishing the 4th round here was a great feeling for Tim Petrovic.
Feel good. 5 under. I think 279, I think. Could have been better today. He really hit the ball well. Just didn't get it close enough to the hole, maybe.
For him to finish with the score that he did, and even though he bogeyed 2 out of the last 3 holes coming in, it could have been worse than that with the tee shot that he hit on 17. But he kept the ball in the fairway today, in contrast to yesterday's round, and it made it a lot easier. And a couple of putts falling, you know, we're looking maybe at 67 or 68 again.
Now, as you're walking up the 18th here with your son, and he gets this rousing applause from the people here in Connecticut, were you beaming like a proud father?
A proud father with a lot of goosebumps, a little bit of water in the eyes. And I know I speak for Timmy in the sense that all the people that were on the other side of the ropes that came out to see him and yelled to him periodically and so on and cheered for him, it's most appreciated, believe me.
I was waiting for that all day. It's going to be great walking up 18, you know. It's a great feeling.
And why shouldn't it be a great feeling? After all, here's a young man, a local kid from Bloomfield, who did quite well this weekend, going through 4 rounds of the Greater Hartford Open. I mean, let's face it, there were names like Peter Jacobson, Chip Beck, Hale Irwin that never even made it to the 3rd and 4th rounds. Hey, he should be quite proud of himself. And the big question now is, what's next for Tim Petrovic?
I don't know. I'm going to try to get into next week's tournament, the Anheuser-Busch, down in Virginia.
Timmy said he'd like to play in the Anheuser-Busch tournament. Will you be his caddy then?
I'm thinking seriously about it. If my boss considers leave of absence for 1 week, I'd be more than happy to go down there. As a matter of fact, I'm sad to say, you know, that we finished our 18 already. It's just a pleasure being out here, and of course the weather helps, and the crowds being at home make a tremendous difference as well.
Of course, a nice story there, Tim Petrovic, and what made that story even nicer today was the fact that his dad was his caddy these last 4 days, and his dad said, hey, if he does it again, I'd love to be there.
I hope he follows him for his whole career, huh? He'll have some great success. The tournament was successful. It ran so smoothly this year, as it does most every year, but there'll be a changing of the guard. We'll have a new chairman next year.
We've had just a great tournament overall. The crowds have gotten bigger, better every day, and looks like it's going to be maybe record profits again for the Greater Hartford JCs.
Looking back, do you see anything that you would do differently next year?
Not really. Most of the changes that we make are really kind of behind-the-scene changes that aren't necessarily readily apparent to the spectator, but it's things that we learn upon and actually we grow upon each and every year to try and improve the tournament.
Renovations will begin next year. Will that get in the way at all of the tournament?
We hope not. Actually, the renovations, the way the schedule calls for, is that there won't be any changes for our tournament, except perhaps on the 10th hole. The tee may be shortened a little bit so that becomes a par 4, which means that as far as the grounds go, we're not expecting too many major changes.
Obviously, this was the place to be the past 4 days in the state of Connecticut. In fact, all of southern New England. But if you were here, you had to look good, too.
Oh, yes. Those guys on the PGA Tour look marvelous. And coming up, Jim Weissovich tells us why.
One thing's for sure, Phil. You get 60,000, 70,000 people in one little area, it can be a mess.
Oh, yeah, the 18th green and the 18th hole look really messy after today's round, but they clean up pretty quickly here.
Yeah, the litter bugs, those kids who run around picking things up, they do a great job. They look good doing it, too. And so did most of the people out here, and Jim Weissovich will explain why.
A few years ago, this factory in New Haven made nothing but girls' uniforms. But a woman named Jean Bell came to this company in 1982. She had designed a line of women's golf clothing and wanted them to manufacture it. Well, the company agreed, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Our company has grown tenfold since we've added the golf lines.
And tenfold, and that's in how many years?
That's in 7 years.
They're not locker room clothes. They're not clothes that you're ashamed to wear walking into the club. You put on in the locker room, and then you take off, and then you leave, and you're wearing your regular clothes. They're clothes that take you right onto the course and off the course.
Joel Standard designs the Jean Bell line now. He calls them clothes for a new generation of golfers. But whatever you call them, sales have been phenomenal. A few years back, he also introduced a men's line called Whitfield and Bridges, and once again, another success story.
We're only going into our 4th year, but it's nice. It's doubled. It's
doubled each year?
Doubled each year.
The company markets its clothing only through country clubs and resorts. And while that might seem like a limited way of doing business, remember there are 12,000 golf courses in the United States, and business on those courses is booming.
It doesn't necessarily make room for more vendors to supply the pipeline. It makes the vendors that are supplying the pipeline even bigger, and we're experiencing that growth right now.
The company would like to grow another 400% in the next 5 years, making them as big as Lacoste. Given the growth in golf these days, they say they're very comfortable with that projection. I'm Jim Weisvich, Channel 3 Eyewitness News, New Haven.
All right, so you've been out here, you've looked good, you feel good, but your game just isn't quite what it should be. So what do?
Get gadgets. You know something? I don't play golf that often, but I tell you what, with all these neat things they have that are coming out with, I just may get involved in golf.
Yeah, and pick up some of these gadgets that Deborah Kent is going to tell us about.
What do you do if you're traveling on business and you can't bring along your golf clubs? Either you don't want the Boston or you're going to skip out to play golf, or it's just too bulky to carry. Well, along comes the adjustable golf club. The club adjusts to 17 different settings. That's 17 clubs in one. I found it at Brookstone for about $90 and thought it was a pretty neat idea. But I thought I'd better ask the advice of someone who plays a little bit more golf.
It seemed to go pretty much like a normal 7-iron would.
When you set it on that?
When you set it on the 7-iron position, yes.
How was the feel?
A little tentative at the beginning because you kind of don't trust that it is going to be, but it seems to be solid. It felt solid when it hit the ball.
We've all seen this out on the course, people swinging a couple of clubs to limber up. Well, Carol Hilton of Glastonbury said, why bother? Just strap on my iron saddlebags, and you've got a swing weight. You can use it to limber up or in the winter months to strengthen your arm. It sells in most golf shops for about $7. For those golfing fanatics who want to play golf in all kinds of weather and on the best courses in the world, the just-released Pro Golf 2, a sequel to probably the most popular computer golf game ever made. The holes are modeled on famous golf courses from around the world. You can select your stroke, take account of the wind, get your guy up to play, and hit it. Pro Golf 2 sells for about $80 in specialty stores like Ingenuities. According to Golf Digest, there are actually groups around the country that play tournaments with these games, with top prizes for the winners of about $5,000. With some great golf gadgets, I'm Deborah Kent, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
In just a moment, we'll be back and take a last look at the leaderboard, the finishing leaderboard here in Hartford.
Everett Nelson's golf training device patent, granted in June 1934, makes him a GHO genius. The device didn't do much for golf swings, but it marked a major advancement in football helmet technology.
The fellows that have been out here all week playing the Greater Hartford Open, it's not all golf, golf, golf. They do some other things. Peter Jacobson, who didn't make the cut, had some extra time this weekend to work on his new album.
1984 GHO champ Peter Jacobson is lead singer Jake Trout. The absent Payne Stewart is harmonica player Nick Nickers. And Mark Lai becomes Lofton Lai, and when together, they become Jake Trout and the Flounders. Sam and Dave's classic Soul Man becomes Golf Fan, and it's one of 8 songs parodied on Jake and the Flounders' brand new album, available on tour for the first time ever right here.
We love golf and we love music. All three of us love music, so we're mixing the two together.
I'll be hitting when the evening comes, watching all my shots in flight, knowing I ain't doing it right. I'm just hitting all the back of the range.
The boys first got together on stage last year in Florida and had such a ball they sunk 50 grand of their own money into the album.
I just saw that shot you hit. You're playing so bad now you want to quit, but don't worry, I'll keep swinging.
The Flounders had to get permission to use the music for their parodies, but that was no problem when it came to Huey Lewis for the song, I Want a New Glove.
He's a golf nut, and he okayed the song and said, hey, you guys, this song is on the house, have fun with it.
I want a new glove, when the won't make me slip, when the won't make me lose the cup, and never make me lose my grip. I want a new glove, when the won't hurt my hand, when the won't make me miss a shot, when I'm playing for 100 grand.
The record book will show that Paul Azinger has won the 1989 Greater Hartford Open, and he picked up $180,000 for doing it. Wayne Levy, not bad.
$108,000 is certainly nothing to sneeze at.
No, and David Rummels came in third at 14 under par, all by himself, $68,000. Yet Lee Trevino was at 13 under par, and our good friend Tim Petrovic came in at 5 under par.
And that's good for $2,900. That'll get him somewhere.
Not bad. We thank you for staying up all week and watching our program. We've enjoyed it. Jerry Brooks has been with me, Phil's been with me, Mike Adams out here, and of course our Channel 3 technicians who have worked harder than all of us combined, laying cable and doing all the hard work. For all of us, good night, everybody.
You hit, you're playing so bad now you want to quit, but don't worry, I'll keep swinging. You just hit your ball into some trouble. If you don't chip it out, you'll make a double, but don't worry, I'll keep swinging. Don't worry, keep swinging.